Welcome to The Gathering.
Welcome to The Gathering. Today we're going to be talking about why religion matters. To begin with, let's not look at religion the way people automatically look at it. Instead, let's look at it as a comprehensive story, a conceptualization of who we are as human beings and what our place is in the universe. A comprehensive story reinforced by certain spiritual practices and a real experience of the transcendent. In order to do that, let's take a look at the first expression of religion. Evidence of our experience of the transcendent began some 50,000 years ago, when there began to appear in caves and underground tunnels paintings of fantastical representations, birdmen, monsters, Venus figures. These paintings dealt with things not encountered in our material world, but suggested something extraordinary, things that existed in another dimension or realm outside of our day-to-day experience. Many anthropologists consider these otherworldly representations the first evidence of religion, an apprehension of the transcendent, a realm that cannot be accessed through the senses. Just as importantly, they see these paintings as the first representation of human cognition, the development of that capacity that makes Homo sapiens truly human. It's interesting. You could say that it is in the experience of religion that Homo sapiens first realized the fullness of its humanity, and that religion is fundamental to human experience. Now, looking at the historical record, it appears that there has never really been a culture or society where some type of regular religious practice has not been a dominant force. No doubt, some cultures have tried to replace religion with fantasies of a master race or utopian socialism, only to have religion go underground and then resurface after the political fantasies have failed. But why is it that religion and religious faith have had such an influence on individuals and societies? It's because religion, particularly when expressed in positive terms, meets fundamental human needs and answers the basic questions of our existence. The first of these human needs is to give some meaning to life, to make some sense out of the very issue of existence itself. Humans seek answers to questions like, who am I and what is my place in the universe? Why was I born? What does this all mean? Religious stories answer these questions. They tell us how the universe was created, how humans came to be, and what their place is in the universe. To some, it may sound silly to have what you might think of as folk tales explain what science is just beginning to understand. But as we'll explore in further podcasts and more deeply in our free course, the insight in these stories, particularly those in our Judeo-Christian heritage, are often so profound that they align surprisingly with some of the most sophisticated discoveries of contemporary science. Now, some may think that religion and science are incompatible. But what historians of ideas and philosophers keep reminding us is that religion and science really deal with two different realms and are not actually in conflict. Science describes a particular mechanism or operation in the physical world. It deals with the how of a phenomenon. Religion, on the other hand, deals with the why. Why did it occur? A good example of this is the creation of the universe. Science, particularly in the last 20 years, has done a remarkable job of describing the process of how our universe came into existence. The Big Bang Theory lays out step by step how the universe evolved to its present form. But it cannot tell us why it was created, what came before it. Religion, by contrast, deals with the issues of why it was created, what its purpose was, and what preceded it. Quite interestingly, many prominent scientists like Einstein, Arthur Compton, and Erwin Schrödinger agree that creation necessitates a creator. And given the immense complexity of the universe and its life forms, that creator must be intelligent. Religion, in its various forms, seeks to answer these questions. Many prominent scientists like John Lennox and Stephen Meyer seem to think that some of the arguments in Western theology provide the most reasonable answers. But more about this in our free course. In addition to creating meaning, religion answers the question of how should I live my life? The ethical dimension is critical in religion, governing the relationships between people and giving rules of right conduct. Interestingly, the answers to how should I live my life are not static. They evolve in each tradition, being informed by human experience. This is particularly true in the West, where rules are interpreted and reinterpreted, modified and adjusted to meet the needs of their time. Whether dealing with Talmudic reinterpretations of the Bible or Aquinas' reworking of Augustine's ethics, religion, in the Judeo-Christian experience, constantly adjusts its rules to meet the needs and discoveries of a particular period, while maintaining the underlying spirit or reason of why the rule was created. This symbiotic relationship of rules to reality in the West has produced what has been the freest and most successful society in human history. Religion also plays an important social function. A common set of beliefs is an important aspect of socialization. Religion brings people with many of the same ideas and beliefs together physically, facilitates interaction, and provides a framework for creating strong social bonds. These bonds are especially important in times of need, where religious communities provide for the needs of those facing crises. It has even been found that psychologically, those involved in religious practice experience less anxiety and depression than their secular counterparts, and are generally much happier and lead more stable and productive lives. Religion has always played a fundamental role in American culture. Our founding fathers insisted that a free society required a religious foundation. In his farewell address, Washington reminded his countrymen that religion and morality are the indispensable supports of a free society. John Adams echoed this sentiment when he said, "Our Constitution was made only for a moral and religious people. It is totally inadequate to the government of any other." And in his observations on what made America a free and prosperous nation, de Tocqueville concludes, "The preservation of America's traditional religion is one of the most important tasks of democratic statesmanship." He goes so far as to say religion should be considered the first of America's political institutions, and that it is necessary for Americans to maintain Christianity at all costs. In light of America's religious foundation and what we know about the function of religion, it's easier to understand the causes of our current cultural crisis and polarization. Since the 1960s, there's been a continuing secularization of American society. In the intervening period, there's also been a rise of postmodern relativism that denies the reliability of verifiable truths, declares everything a social construct, and puts in the place of positive values a narrative of victimhood, oppression, and conflict. Unfortunately, this type of secular culture fails to provide the stories that give life a deeper meaning, that tell us how to live purposeful lives, and provide the opportunities to build the social bonds that we all need. It removes all the psychological and social supports that allow for successful human development and flourishing communities. It has contributed to the alarming rise in anxiety, depression, and suicidal ideation among young people. So, how do we bring these stories back to life and make them relevant in this part of the 21st century? Our Judeo-Christian heritage faces the same type of challenges it has faced in every period of great change, whether it was the fall of the Roman Empire, the Renaissance, the Enlightenment, or any period where people begin to perceive the world differently. Just as then, our tradition must adapt, but the adaptation does not imply the dilution or abandonment of fundamental principles. Rather, it requires articulating those principles clearly within the new conceptual framework of the age that we are in. What is truly exciting to me is that when these fundamental principles are restated in the language of modern scientific discoveries, particularly in the areas of neuroscience, cosmology, and physics, they take on a compelling force that borders on the irresistible. In subsequent podcasts, we'll be exploring the relationship between what modern science tells us we require as human beings to flourish and how our Judeo-Christian tradition not only provides these science-proven needs, but does so in such a compelling manner that it even reinforces these scientific theories. It's exciting stuff. For The Gathering, I'm Leonardo Radomile. Thanks for listening, and if you like what you heard, give us a quick thumbs up and subscribe. To learn more about The Gathering and our free course, check out our webpage. You'll find the link below.